Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be for those interested in a career in urban planning. Anyone that's aspiring and interested, this video is for you. I have 20 questions that I think you should be asking yourself if you want to get into the field of urban planning. This video is also for those who are watching my channel and are not necessarily going to become urban planners, but have seen that I've spoken about it quite a few times and are probably wondering what is it all about and why am I so interested in talking about it. Well, today I'll be presenting some information on that topic. So the first question is, what is town and regional planning? Well, that is a question that my colleagues and I are faced with quite often. It's basically the work done by urban planners. To simply put it, it is the study of cities and the built environment. Urban planning shapes where we live, work, play, basically gather. Urban planning is an intentional design and plan of our spatial environment. It is the management of our spatial environment on the Earth's surface, and it aims to promote order in terms of the use of land. So the next question I have is, where do you study urban planning and what qualifications are available? Well, a few institutions come to mind. That is DUT, UKZN, UJ, UP, WITS, and the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. Qualifications include the 3-year National Diploma and the subsequent Bachelor of Technology in Urban Planning. Other alternatives are a 3-year Bachelor of Science in Urban and Regional Planning. That will be followed by a Bachelor of Science Honours degree. Then you can proceed with your Masters and PhD. Third question I have is, what subjects should you take in high school? I would advise that you take geography for a good grasp of the earth, land, and our climate. I would also advise that you take engineering, graphics, and design to learn drawing skills. I'd also advise you take pure maths and physical science. The next question I have is, what modules did I take? So this is quite a long, extensive list because this is my list from my National Diploma into my Bachelor of Technology. Some of the modules include planning, surveying, civil engineering, drawing, computer-aided design, geography, planning design, legal principles, legal procedures, statistics, survey and analysis, communication, city planning, community studies, environmental studies, GIS, and management. Question number 5. What were my favorite modules? I had quite an interest in surveying because I got to use a theodolite, learning how to set it up and capture readings. I was quite fond of computer-aided design. I still use it today to prepare drawings to assist my architects and my draftsmen. Computer-aided design is also quite a useful tool when preparing master plans and township layouts. Having a good grasp of computer-aided design is like having a good arrow in your quiver. You definitely need it as a city planner. I enjoyed legal principles and procedures, getting to understand law. Even though it wasn't a major module for me, I still really had a great appreciation for it and understanding how it influences our decisions and knowing how to use law. The module also gave us a great understanding in the many applications town planners do. In high school, I wasn't the greatest math student, but I definitely enjoyed survey and analysis, understanding numbers, understanding how to survey, get your information, get your data, understanding quantitative and qualitative data. It really assists you in gathering research to support any arguments you have or to support any planning proposals. In my BTech year, I enjoyed city planning. It helped us delve into some problems that we face, such as climate change, inclusive cities. It was great preparation into some of the work that we do as urban planners. Another BTech module that I did was community studies. It helps us understand communities, understanding the structures, the theories about how communities are formed, and It gives us great insights into how our approaches need to be when going into a community and facilitating development. In 2014, I had an internship at the Ep3 municipality in the GIS department of the planning branch for human settlements, and I got to have a great grasp on GIS, assisting other town planners and project managers with their housing projects. So when I had to use GIS in university, I had a good understanding of it. The level of detail of that module was quite fantastic, basically showing us how we can use GIS in our spatial planning. Having GIS as a skill set also helps you in the job markets when you are looking for jobs, because you might find a bit more GIS related posts than actual town planning posts. The final one I have on my list of modules I enjoyed was management. I believe management gave me a great insight into the work that I would be doing as a town planner, but also it gave me a great understanding of project management and the tools I would be using. So the next question I have is, what has been your career path? This is a question that you could be asking someone for advice, so I'm going to give you my sort of journey. So my journey, it started off as in getting, as I said, that internship at the municipality. Gave me a lot of contacts and mentors and people that I can just pick up the phone and speak to whenever I need some advice. I learned a lot about GIS, human settlements. From there, my next delve was into property developments in Nelspruit. I worked for a company called Walls Properties. They have a huge land holding and they sell land to potential buyers. They also facilitate the development management. So whatever you want to build, they can be your development managers and control the construction and the design phases as well, and assist you with getting your project off the ground. Most recently, I've also been in the construction industry as a project planner. I started off as a junior in 2018. I worked on 2 projects within the tanking industry. Well, as a project planner, I would assist my lead planner and also project managers on the site. Project planning has allowed me to understand a leadership role on a project and understanding how I would facilitate teams. So project planning has been an advantage to me. Using software like P6 and Microsoft projects allows me to understand the schedule of a project and also make calls where you need to get your teams moving, mobilized, and realize that they are missing their targets. So me having used tools like P6 and Microsoft projects, I think it's a great tool to have as a town planner, because in many jobs you'll also be in the center of a project where you'll be speaking to different people such as the engineers, the architects, basically the entire professional team. Next question I have is, what career paths are available to town planners? Town planners are lucky as they are able to delve into quite a few parts. You can work within the private sector, the public sector, and you can work for NGOs. You could work for organizations like United Nations Habitat. In the private sector, you'd find yourself within a firm. It could be large, it could be small, but you might be involved with basic town planning requirements. It could be for residential, commercial. You could be assisting municipalities with IDP formulation. In the public sector, you could work as a plans examiner. You could work in a team assessing town planning applications. You could work in the different spheres of governments, in national, provincial, and local. Question number 9, what is lifelong learning? So learning doesn't stop at university. So if you thought that's what happens, you need to get your head screwed on straight. So for a town planner, lifelong learning is very important, because within our industry, things change very quickly, especially within the political environment, and politics does have a hand in what we do as urban planners. Policies can change, they can be reviewed, new legislation can come out. You need to know all these things. You need to have an understanding. You need to be able to speak on legislation. Question number 10. Why are mentors important? Well, mentors are important for a lot of reasons. They guide you and they help shape your grasp on the field. They give you direction and they make you better. They help you identify weaknesses and they assist you when you need advice or clarity. So the next question is, how do you build connections? Well, in our field, you'll be attending a lot of seminars, workshops and conferences. It's a great place to build your network and your contacts. You could use LinkedIn. Over time, with going to the council and submitting applications, you will be more familiar with the people that you hand over your applications to. It will be important to remember to smile, remain friendly. Whenever you call in to query your application, you've got to remain friendly and courteous. And remember, that person holds the power with accepting or rejecting your proposals. Get to know your colleagues. Ask questions about their life, the activities they get up to. Ask about their families. Build a relationship. So that goes into our next question on how do you maintain connections. Check in with your connections from time to time. Pick up the phone, give a call, send an SMS or a message or an email. Let them know that you are there for them if they need you. Try to share something thoughtful on an annual basis, like a small little token of appreciation. Send well wishes during holidays and religious times. Remember to help as much as you get helped by your connections. Always strive to keep a professional relationship, but that does not mean that you can't be someone's friend. As much as possible, understand people's boundaries and personal space and their time. So don't encroach on them, but be available. Whenever you get knowledge that is within your industry, don't feel afraid to share it. Give a hand where you can see your colleagues struggling. When someone asks for your help, try and knock it out the park as soon as it gets put on your desk. Not without jeopardizing your own work, but try and be helpful, and you'll see the benefit of that. When you ask others for help, they'll be there for you as well. Next question. What do you need to be a good planner? So earlier I spoke of lifelong learning and learning skills after university. You won't learn everything. I particularly believe that you need good organizational skills, knowing how to juggle your schedule, being on top of the game, being strong in project management, knowing how to lead teams, have an understanding of people. Do your best to understand communities, what makes them, the history of them, the context. Try and get project management skills. Try and learn how to run a schedule. Try and learn property developments. Try and learn everything you can about buildings and construction. Try and learn different languages, different cultures. Know the customs of people. Simple as greeting. When you attend a site visit and you have to meet a community, it's as simple as saying Dumela, Sawubona, Molweni. Have respect for people's customs and traditions as well. Simple things like standing to greet someone, shaking their hand with a firm grip. If you don't know, ask. Question number 14. How should you carry yourself as a town planner? Appear to be knowledgeable. Don't be a know-it-all. Don't act like you know everything. But have common sense and show your education. In a stakeholders meeting, show that you have an understanding and you have researched a topic. Please, 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 always try and maintain good neatness and hygiene. Smell good, look good, have a haircut, iron your clothes, shine your shoes, shine your boots. Even if you're showing up to a site visit that you know is going to be dusty, make sure your boots are shiny. First impressions are very important, and oftentimes we don't have the opportunity to go back and correct our first impression. Be prepared to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty. Put your hands in the sand. Turn the soil. Show that you care as much about the project as the beneficiary or the client. If you are in doubt about your appearance, ask your friends, ask your family, ask your colleagues, does this look appropriate? Please, I beg you, do not show up with the rainbow colored hair like Tekashi 69. Oh my god. Imagine community members waiting, standing to greet you, ready for public participation, and they see that. The first thing they'd say, look at this guy. This one's coming to help us. Way. Question 15. What value should you have as an urban planner? You should have good ethics, good character, professionalism, empathy. You should do it because you want to have a positive change on communities. If you're doing it for the money, you're in it for the wrong reasons. What is the role of ethics in urban planning? Ethics play a hugely important role. In this job, you are dealing with the safety of people and the environment. Your decisions can have a major impact on lives. I'll give you a very simple example. You will not put a housing project next to an industry that emits harmful chemicals and dangerous gases. Another clear example is taverns or bottle stores. You will not put a bottle store or a tavern next to a school. Those are conflicting land uses. The next question I have is, where can you access information relevant to urban planning? So I believe blog posts are quite useful. Some of the blog posts I refer to are the City Fix, City Lab, and a property blog called Biz Community, and I look at the property section. LinkedIn is great because you can get connections and they can share articles or posts, job opportunities. There are groups as well that you can follow that share urban planning knowledge. The newspaper, you have to be familiar with news and upcoming events, politics. So immersing yourself in that knowledge is very important. YouTube is a great tool to use. You can learn so much on that platform, hence why you are here. Conferences, seminars, and workshops are also great. What should motivate your planning decisions? The Constitution, the economy, national objectives, legislation, policy, the betterment of communities. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, is the decision you're making morally good? Does it benefit one person or does it benefit a whole lot of people? We are almost at the end. The next question I have is, who are the pioneers of urban planning? So the first town planner that I can think of that comes to mind is Hippodamus from the 5th century. He was a Greek philosopher. Because of him, today we have the gridiron layout. Ebenezer Howard, he created the Garden City movement. Garden cities were used as a solution for overcrowded industrial cities. He realized that the town and the country both had their pros and cons. They were both magnets in their own rights, and people being the needles that were attracted to those magnets. He sought to create the town-country magnet, and he believed it would have all the pros and none of the cons. His system used green belts between industry, agriculture, and the residential community. Le Corbusier, he had a vision of the contemporary city. He believed he could improve the quality of life for the lower classes. He planned for a city with 3 million inhabitants. It would use a system of zoning to designate specific areas and districts. The center of the city would be for commercial activities and the outer areas for residential. These districts would be interconnected by a mass transportation system. There would also be space allocated for the circulation of cars, trains, and pedestrians. The CBD would comprise of 25 glass skyscrapers. Each would be surrounded by parks. From the center, it radiates out to apartments, industries, and residential areas. Kevin Lynch is a pioneer that we refer to when creating concept plans because we use his Lynch system. He found that there were 5 elements to use for the planning of cities. That would be pathways, districts, landmarks, edges, and nodes. Jane Jacobs, she was a journalist and activist and had a great impact on urban and economic studies. She was an advocate for the place-based, community-centered approach to urban planning. She was very outspoken against top-down urban planning, which is why today we use a bottom-up approach. So my final question is, what are some of the challenges in urban planning? Top of the list would probably be job reservation, because we find as urban planners there are architects and land surveyors doing work that is set aside, or rather meant to be set aside for town planners. Yet we do not cross over into their careers and do what they should be doing. I think many of my colleagues would agree with me that there is an issue with getting more younger planners into permanent positions. I've also seen that a lot of graduates after graduating from urban planning schools go from internship to internship for a very long time. There are people that are near the end of their 20s into their 30s going on to internships, which I think is very wrong. There definitely needs to be something done to get urban planners into more permanent position or longer term contracts. It is very difficult for someone to plan their life over a 1-year contract. So ideally more 3-year, 5-year contracts, but at the end of the day, someone needs to feel secure. At the end of coming out of college, you have debts to pay back to your family, rent. Maybe you went to someone to get funding for your tertiary studies, so you have to pay them back. In urban planning, there's a lot of political interference. Corruption also definitely has an impact, especially if you're doing public planning. If there's corruption within these entities that are local or district municipalities, and there's money being laundered, it impacts on communities and rural communities. So you could be essentially trying to plan something and you get told that there's no funding for this project. Poor performing or slow turnaround time municipalities also having a negative view on the use of technology, because we live in a digital age and we should be able to submit applications digitally, but we still find that we have to go to the local municipalities and submit applications. Even when we try and check in, phone calls, emails don't work, and we have to make visits ourselves. So guys, thank you for watching, and I hope you've gained some insight into what we do as urban planners. Maybe some of your questions have been answered, but you gained more insight. It's been a huge pleasure filming this video, and I hope that it has a positive impact on your view in urban planning. I hope this video answers much of the questions that you ask us as urban planners. Urban planners do not plan whole entire cities. So when someone approaches you and you ask them what they do when they say they're a town planner, please do not say, oh, you plan towns. No, it's not exactly what it is. We do so much more than that. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and share this video. Look forward to more content coming soon. I have a whole lot of stuff planned. Definitely going to talk about how COVID-19 impacts our cities. So stay tuned for more content. Thanks for watching. Cheers.